Hello everyone, welcome to the video to recap some basic information like percentages, fractions, and decimals. This video reminds you how to convert these units, how to simplify decimals, and some examples of fractions in algebra. Let's go! Firstly, I should show you how to convert fractions to decimals and percentages. Converting a fraction to decimal is one of the easiest things you'll ever do. All you have to do is divide the numerator by the denominator. For example, 1 over 3 is a fraction. Obviously, all you have to do is divide 1 by 3, which should give you 0.33. If you didn't get 0.33, then you did something seriously wrong. Or your calculator just seriously broken. Then, to convert a fraction to percentage, it's slightly harder, but not too hard either. All you have to do is multiply the numerator by 100, and then you divide the new numerator by the denominator to get your percentage. Pretty simple too, isn't it? Now, I should show you how to convert decimals to percentages and fractions. All you have to do to convert decimal to percentage is multiply the decimal by 100, and you should receive the percentage. An example is 1.33. To get the percentage, I obviously, as I've just mentioned, multiplied by 100, and you should receive 133%. To convert decimals to fractions is slightly harder, but not too hard either if you know how to do it. For example, all you have to do is think of the decimal numbers as fractions. Here's what I mean about that. So obviously the first decimal number is 3/10, so you make it 3 over 10. And the second number is 3/100, so you make it 3 over 100. But here's the thing. Life will be much easier if you make 3/10 into 30 over 100, because then you can add 30 over 100 and 3 over 100 together to make 33 over 100. We then divide both of these numbers by the highest common factor to receive the most simplified version of that fraction. And that is how you convert a decimal to a fraction. I shall now demonstrate how to convert percentages to decimals and fractions. To convert a percentage to decimal, all you have to do is divide that percentage by 100 and you should receive a decimal. An example is 22%. You divide that by 100 and you receive 0.22. To convert a percentage into a fraction, it's also incredibly easy. All you have to do is put the percentage number in the numerator, then put the denominator 100. For example, 20% once again. It becomes 20 over 100, and then you divide both of these numbers by the highest common factor to receive the highest simplified version. Now, simplification is one of the most important things in math ever, because it's quite important, obviously. For example, 66 over 99. Now, one of the ways to do simplification, if you have a calculator, or if you just know it, is to divide both numbers in the fraction by the highest common factor, by the common highest factor. In this case, it is 33, which should give you 2 over 3. Now, obviously, this is the fastest method to simplify. However, if you're having a bit of a brain freeze, or you forgot your calculator, or whatever many things happened, you can do it a long way. And this will take much longer, but at least you're less prone to making mistakes this way. For example, we have a fraction of 48 over 144. We divide both numbers by 2, which will give you 24 over 72, and then divide those numbers by 2, which will give you 12 over 36. We then divide both of these numbers by 2 once again, which will give you 6 over 18. And once again, you guessed it, you divide both of these numbers by 2, which will give you 3 over 9. Obviously, this time we don't divide by 2, because that's not the common lowest factor. This time we divide by 3, which will give you 1 over 3. That is the simplest, as the lowest common form of that fraction. And here's fractions in algebra, which is not too much of a pressing matter, but it's really good if you know it. For example, here is an example of fractions in algebra. Now, it may seem like a somewhat hard equation, or maybe not, maybe this is really easy. For some people it may be kind of hard, but don't get discouraged if you find it difficult. For example, an easy step first is to multiply it by 2 minus 1a, because that is the denominator for the left side, and yeah, so now the equation becomes 1a equals 5 over 1 times 2 minus 1a. And now, I made it 5 over 1 and I converted the number to a fraction because that will ultimately help us. Because minus 1a is obviously a fraction, so we can treat it as a fraction that way. So we multiply 5 over 1 by 2, which becomes 10 over 1. So it becomes 10 over 1, which is 10, minus 5 over a. So the equation becomes 1a equals 10 minus 5 over a. Then, to make this even simpler, we multiply every number by a, which now gives us an equation of 1 equals 10a minus 5. Now I make this even simpler by taking away minus 5 from both sides. And if you take away a negative number, it obviously adds a number. So now it becomes 6 equals 10a. And to make this even simpler, since 10a is 10 multiplied by a, we divide both sides by 10, which will give us an equation of a equals 6 over 10. And that is an example of fractions in algebra and how they can sometimes be used to find a, or an unknown variable. Now here's another somewhat difficult example of fractions in algebra. Now this equation also looks kind of difficult, but it's actually really simple. So basically what you do is you factorize the denominator of the second number. It's now instead of being 4x over 8x plus 24, it is now 4x over 2 times 4x plus 16. Now you flip the second fraction by its head. So now it becomes 2 times 4x plus 16 over 4x. Now from here it is super easy, because now instead of being divided, it becomes a multiplied sign. And here it gets really simple, because you take away 4x plus 16 from both sides, so the denominator gets removed, and the numerator in the brackets gets removed. And we remove 4x, so now the numerator on the first number is 4x, and the denominator just doesn't exist. So all we're left with is 4x multiplied by 2, which gives us 8x. And that is an example of how fractions in algebra are sometimes used, and may look difficult, but is actually really simple. So that is the end to this animation. I really hope you learned something from it, and I hope this will help you in studying for that fractions test, and that this will help you get a better grade. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.